In our last video on ASX Limited, we named one number to watch: expense growth of 18 to 21%. Today, the company reaffirmed it, unchanged. So the number held, but we also said the re-rating would wait. The shares are up about 34% since. The number held. The conclusion we built on it missed. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how both can be true.
Before we do though, quick disclaimer. Nothing in this video is financial advice. I'm not a licensed advisor. This is purely educational. Do your own research. Talk to a professional if you need to. All right, let's go.
Let us be precise about what we claimed. ASX Limited runs Australia's share market and its clearing system. It is a licensed monopoly on essential market plumbing. In May, the company warned that costs would climb hard for years. The shares fell to around $45. We scored the business 6.1 out of 10. We called it a wide moat monopoly with a governance overhang. The moat scored 8. Management scored 3.5. And we named one number to watch above all others: expense growth for the following year, guided at 18 to 21%. And we closed with this: fix the cost story and a wide moat monopoly looks cheap. Do not, and the re-rating waits. That is the sentence today's result has to grade. If you want the full business breakdown, that video is linked below.
So here is what landed this morning. Operating revenue reached $1.25 billion. That is growth of 13.3%. It beat the pace the company was running at in April. Underlying profit rose 5.2%. But watch this next number carefully. Statutory profit actually fell 3.5%. Those two figures point in opposite directions. The gap is one-off costs: a regulator's penalty, a technology write-down, an asset sale. Together, they took about $51 million after tax. Total expenses reached $557 million. That is growth of 21% in a single year. And the full-year dividend fell to about $2.07, down 7.5%, fully franked. That was the cut announced last December, now flowing through. Now to the scorecard that matters most. The company made 5 promises in May. It honored all 5. Cost growth came in at 21%, inside the guided range. Technology spending came in at the top of its range. Returns on equity landed inside the target band. The dividend held at its floor rather than falling through it. And next year's cost guidance was reaffirmed, not raised. 4 delivered, 1 reaffirmed for the year ahead. 5 for 5, after a year when the market expected slippage. One caveat belongs on screen. The cost figure includes $30 million of one-off inquiry work. Strip that out, and growth was far lower. Look at the 5-year picture now. Revenue has compounded at only about 5% a year, but the last year broke that pattern. Every one of the 4 divisions grew. The value of shares traded rose to about $1.9 trillion. New listings rose 45% to 100 companies. That was the strongest listings year since financial year 2022. 23 of those came from overseas. The long-run average is 13. And July was stronger again. Futures volumes rose 20%. One more line on this chart matters. The reported profit margin fell again to 61%. But strip out the one-off inquiry costs. On that basis, it rose. Now to earnings themselves. Underlying earnings per share reached $2.76. That is barely above where they sat 4 years ago. Returns on equity came in at 13.7%. That sits inside the company's own target band. Free cash flow converted at about 80% of underlying profit. For a business this capital heavy, that is a solid result. So the quality worry from our last video eased. It did not disappear.
So to the number we told you to watch, expense growth for next year guided at 18 to 21%. The test was simple. Would the company raise it, widen it, or cut it? It did none of those. The band did not move. By our own stated rule, that call held. The cost surge is real, but it stopped getting worse.
And here is where we were wrong. We said the re-rating would wait for the cost story. It did not wait. And the timing tells you why. Our last video used a price of about $45.50. The shares closed near $55.50 the day before results. So roughly 2/3 of the recovery happened before today. The market did not wait for the numbers at all. In that window, the regulator's court case settled. The remediation plan was agreed. A permanent chief executive was named. On results day, the shares closed about 9% higher. That takes the price to roughly $60.50, which means the discount is largely gone. The shares now trade near 22 times underlying earnings. The yield has fallen to about 3.4%.
So what actually changed inside the business? Start with the moat. It is unchanged and still wide. The new clearing system went live on budget in May. That removes a real worry about whether they could execute. But the number of listed companies fell for a 4th straight year. That is the quiet limit on this business. It owns one national market, and that market is mature. A strong listings year helps. It does not change the ceiling. Now, management. This is the biggest change of all. The regulator's case is settled and paid. The remediation plan is agreed. A new chief executive starts in September. An open-ended legal threat became a closed known number. That is worth a lot to an investor.
Now let us talk about what could still go wrong. Our old top risk was a cost blowout. That one did not fire. Our second risk was the regulator. That one fired and then resolved. The company admitted misleading the market in 2022. It paid a $20 million penalty. But a capital charge stays in force until the middle of next year. The company still has about $130 million to set aside. Our third risk was competition in clearing. That has not gone away. And the credit rating was cut during the year. The agency pointed straight at governance. And there is a new risk we did not list before. The incoming chief executive has not started yet. A new leader can always revisit the plan.
So where does that leave the two sides? The bull case is simple. Revenue is accelerating. The overhangs have cleared. The moat is untouched. Spending peaks and profits follow. The bear case is just as simple. Earnings per share have grown about 1% a year since 2022. Costs are guided up 18 to 21% again next year, and the shares have re-rated from about 18 times earnings to 22. So the market is already paying for a recovery. That recovery has not shown up in earnings per share yet. Good news priced, growth still unproven. So let us close the loop from the opening. Our overall score moved from 6.1 to 6.4. Almost nothing. But look underneath it. Management rose 2 full points. The governance cloud lifted. Valuation fell 1.5 points. The discount was spent. Growth and quality each rose 0.5 point. The balance sheet slipped 0.5 point on the rating cut. The moat did not move at all. Same score, a different company underneath it.
That is how the number held and the call still missed. We were right about the costs. We were wrong to think the market would wait for them. It re-rated while the overhangs cleared, before the numbers even landed.
3 things decide the next chapter. First, the new chief executive starts in September. Second, the capital charge lifts, or it does not, by June. Third, and this is the one to hold on to, expense growth of 18 to 21%. Again. Same number, next year. That is still the whole story. So the verdict: a wide moat monopoly that fixed its problems and is no longer priced like it has any. So the number held. Our conclusion didn't. Want the full breakdown of how ASX makes money? That deep dive is on the left. And CSL is the one most people start with. It is on the right. Subscribe if you want the ASX broken down properly. One company, one framework, one scorecard. I will see you in the next one.